Back again with another YouTube video. It's your boy Uriah. Today we're gonna react to 7 biggest lies Triple H has told in WWE. We're gonna react to 7 biggest lies HHH Triple H Hunter Hearst Helmsley has told in WWE. Let's get right into the video.
Why would you assume that there's a lake?
Alright, we got an advertisement. You guys peep how I said his whole name?
Lies have been covered to death. But what about Triple H's? It seems that the cerebral assassin has also been a compulsive liar. As number one, he lied about Drew Gulak's WWE release. The WWE press conferences are really a weird mix of kayfabe and reality. When it comes to Triple H's appearances, they're usually mostly based in reality. At the post-2024 Backlash,
I haven't heard from Drew Gulak 205 Live. That was the last time I ever heard of his name.
press conference, the game was asked about Drew Gulak. Gulak had just been let go by WWE for alleged bad behavior, and Ronda Rousey would even accuse Gulak of having inappropriate physical contact. But instead,
I did not even know he was doing stuff. Like, what? Bruh. So he had got released, or he had got some so pretty much he got into some legal trouble, and what, he got released from the company, or did Triple H release him? Y'all tell me, because I only know Drew Gulak from like 205 Live and stuff.
simply confirming the news of Gulak's release and offering support to Rousey, Triple H decided to spin his answer, first by having a pop at wrestling media sources before claiming that Gulak wasn't outright released. If you're gonna cite news sources, pick good ones. That's where I would start. We release talent all the time. It's part of what we do. You just can't hire people, bring them in, keep hiring more people, and then just keep bringing them in. An unfortunate part of the job is talent get released. Can I say that he was released? He was not released. His contract was just not renewed. Triple H failed to realize that saying
His contract wasn't renewed. That's what happened, guys.
Gulak was released was not to make the company look bad. Gulak's behavior backstage had been called out, not just for his supposed incident with Ronda Rousey, but for being described as a bully backstage. And WWE were literally doing an investigation into his antics. WWE were completely justified in cutting ties with the problematic wrestler, and it was such a weird defensive answer from the head of WWE Creative. Number 2, lying about not listening to fans. During the road to WrestleMania 41, Triple H approached all of his media duties with a sense of bitterness and resentment towards the audience. The fans had been critical of his booking, and this had evidently taken an emotional effect on him. One of Triple H's more controversial comments during this time period related to fans on social media. The game, during an interview with Flagrant, would claim that the internet isn't real life, and the complaining on the internet doesn't reflect on the real audience. The internet is not real life. The bitching and complaining that's on there is not real life. You can
Dang.
read the internet and it will sound like this thing is dead. I'll use Cody as an example. Cody has already jumped the shark. Cody's a babyface. Really? I'm in an arena with 10,000 people every night going apeshit for him. He's selling the most merchandise. Sure, whatever you want to say on the internet. The beautiful thing for our business, unlike a movie or TV show or even a book, we have a focus group every night. But this was Triple H basically saying that WWE doesn't listen to the noise on the internet. However, that simply isn't true. It's been widely reported that Triple H is often seen scrolling.
I feel like now he's kind of listening to the fans more because, you know, R-Truth getting released and then it being a work and not a work. Now Ron Killings, aka R-Truth, being pushed to the top. Now possibly getting world champion. Bro, I can't say Triple H fully lied about the product because he did tell the fans he's, you know, it's, you just gotta be patient, I guess. But yeah, let's continue. He is kind of right though, but let's continue.
On X to see what fans think of the product. In fact, there's been countless times of Triple H booking something to combat negativity online. He's even taken direct ideas from fans on social media. Take, for instance, when fan art surfaced of the blue edition for the prior design of the Intercontinental title. The fan art went viral, and literally days after, the new version debuted on television. To say the voices of internet fans don't matter is an insane comment, and it's an utter lie. Additionally, in 2024, the fan outrage over Cody Rhodes losing his WrestleMania spot led to WWE changing their entire WrestleMania direction.
It should bring back, like, you remember the WWE posters that they would sell at the shows? Like, they should do it like that. I don't know if that's the same ones. It probably is. Yeah, they did. We Want Cody, they all have the same ones, so they probably do sell those at the shows unless they're sold on WWE Shop. But y'all remember the posters back in wrestling when they had those posters? They just look different in a sense.
Triple H and others literally discussed this directly in the WrestleMania 40 documentary. Number 3, lying about pushing LA Knight. Now, LA Knight has managed to maintain his popularity for a number of years now. Heading into 2025's Money in the Bank ladder match, he was a firm favorite to win. But this would be LA's third consecutive time in the match, and due to WWE mostly following
Guys, I am sorry. I coughed into the microphone.
up on promises to the fans firmly expected him to win this year. Sadly, this wasn't the case, and WWE decided to have Seth Rollins win the briefcase for the second
Did they really put Cash App on top of the Money in the Bank briefcase?
time in his career. This led fans digging up an old clip of Triple H from 2 years ago at the same event. At the 2023 Money in the Bank event from London, the game would state that good things come to those who wait when it comes to LA Knight. And this is basically the game promising that LA would receive his major push sooner rather than later.
Like I said, I remember LA Knight from TNA as Eli Drake.
Unfortunately, outside of some sporadic moments in the world title picture, LA has mostly been relegated to the mid-card. It's evident that Triple H sees him at the level of a US champion. There have been rumors that the game isn't a massive fan of LA Knight, and whilst this hasn't been verified, it wouldn't come as too much of a surprise based on his current booking. Triple H has been keen to push wrestlers.
I mean, I didn't think that they was gonna give the Money in the Bank to Eli Drake. Not Eli Drake. Why do I keep getting him confused with TNA? LA Knight. There we go. I knew they weren't gonna give it to him, even though they could have. But the only reason why I say that is because it fits with Seth Rollins and the storyline that he's in right now. I guess with the faction and just the rivalry and who he's, what he's doing. So yeah.
Managed to get organically over with the crowd, but when it comes to LA Knight, he just outright refuses to give him a significant moment. It's really not clear why. Number 4, lying about the Montreal Screwjob. The 1997 Montreal Screwjob was one of the most controversial and infamous real-life events in pro wrestling history. In the immediate aftermath of the incident, Bret Hart and the Hart family naturally wanted to know what names were in the know of what Vince McMahon had planned. Backstage after the 1997 Survivor Series, Hart's first wife, Julie Smadu, would confront Triple H, and the game would swear to God that he had nothing to do with the incident. Triple H would then directly promise to Hart's wife that he had nothing to do with what occurred, and he even had the nerve to patronize Hart's wife by saying, "I know you're upset." But footage of this was secretly filmed on the documentary Hitman Hart Wrestling with Shadows. It's pretty obvious that Triple H did know that he was being filmed at the time. Whilst it was common knowledge that Triple H was fully aware of what was going to go down, it wasn't until the Mr. McMahon documentary on Netflix debuted that he exposed himself to the world. There was a phone call that happened with Shawn, myself, and Vince. Vince said, "Look, Bret's not going to do it. He refuses to do it." I don't remember all the specifics, but I was one that was like, F that. If he won't do it for him. But Triple H didn't just lie for years. He now believes that he's in a comfortable enough position to take full credit as being the mastermind for the entire thing. Even though it was Jerry Briscoe who came up with the idea. Triple H may wonder why Bret Hart has a strong dislike towards him, but it's insanely obvious as to why. Just look at Bret's reaction to him at the Hall of Fame. Number 5, lying about wanting to do Evolution 2. The fans were delighted when it was formally announced.
Oh, he said he didn't want to do Evolution 2? Okay, that's what I'm getting from the title of that, because I did see that they're bringing back some pay-per-views, and I did see Evolution. So what I'm hearing is he lied about Evolution at first.
That Evolution would be returning to July of 2025.
Okay.
The initial debut in 2018 was well received by fans, and fans have been pushing WWE to bring the event back for a long time. During the post-Money in the Bank press conference, the game would discuss why he's brought the event back, and he even stated that he wanted to do a sequel to the show following the initial success of Evolution 1. I wanted to do Evolution 2 since Evolution 1, probably even before we did it. I was trying to figure out how to do Evolution 2. For a lot of different reasons, the timing wasn't right. Now it is. I'm thrilled to be able to do it again. The truth is, as amazing as women in our business were then, it's grown exponentially. The biggest trick we'll have is, how do we build that card out and have that many women and fit as many people into that card? Everyone is going to be a part of it, and we want to make sure everybody gets to do something. That will be the trickiest part. This sounded like a rational answer from Triple H. However, fans were quick to call out the game for these comments. Back in 2021, Triple H discussed Evolution, and he had an extremely negative take on bringing the event back. Speaking on the NXT In Your House media call, he stated,
Is Evolution a really big pay-per-view? Because I've never like sat down and watched it. I want to, watch, one of the women's pay-per-views. I do tend to try to watch some women's matches. It depends on what like certain women wrestler it is. Because I only like certain wrestlers. Just like men wrestlers. Certain wrestlers, certain characters, and stuff like that. And I love wrestling. I love all wrestlers in their own way. Evolution, I've never checked that out. Mixed tag team match, do they still do that? The pay-per-view? I'm not sure.
haven't we already done them? It's a funny thing to me. So equality is equality. Equality is not, I want my own show. Equality is not, we have to have our own program. If I told you that I was making an all-men's program and I didn't want women on it, it would be criticized. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I do think it's funny when people go, I want the best in the world regardless of contractual status. I'm sorry, from a business person's standpoint, then why do we have a contractual status, right? It doesn't make sense to me. If you want to wrestle the best...
Alright. We have an ad. We got hit with an advertisement. Bro, it's 15 seconds. And it was unskippable.
WWE, that's where they are. If you want to go elsewhere and say that you can, but it is what it is. Now, the game clearly didn't want to do Evolution 2 since the inaugural event, so it's unclear what exactly he was trying to achieve with these comments and not be called out for them. Number 6, lying about the Ultimate Warrior. In 2005, WWE would release a documentary focused on the Ultimate Warrior. This documentary basically acted as a hit piece on the Warrior, and it was the most one-sided account of the Warrior imaginable. It was there to destroy the Warrior. It was extremely controversial at the time.
Oh, it's a book about Ultimate Warrior that was written about him, and they tarnished his name and stuff in that book. If they did so, how bad was the stuff in it? And you don't have to say what was said in the book, but just tell me like what were they like, talking about kinda. But just don't get too into depth with it. It was that bad? 'Cause no way. I've never heard of the book, I don't think.
Even those fans and wrestlers who dislike Warrior claim that the documentary was downright biased and unfair. One name who was interviewed for the documentary was Triple H, who discussed his match with the Warrior from WrestleMania 12. The game had literally nothing positive to say about working with the Warrior, and he would go as far as saying that he was the most unprofessional guy he's ever worked with, and he basically stated that the Warrior outright buried him. But then fast forward a decade later, and Triple H's stance on the Warrior and the match had greatly changed.
Give me a second, guys.
had to say regarding the match. This is my first WrestleMania that I will compete in, and for a lot of people, they think that this is almost an embarrassing moment in my career where I was basically squashed in a couple of minutes by the Ultimate Warrior. But for me, one, it was my first WrestleMania, and two, the Ultimate Warrior was one of the biggest stars ever in WWE. So when they came to me and said, "You're gonna get to work with the Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania," I was just out of my mind excited. The King would even take things further by, with a straight face, calling it one of his greatest memories. That to me is one of my greatest memories. It's like going to the Super Bowl and you got to throw against Brady or something like that. It was just a great experience for me. I enjoyed it immensely. Wrestlers changing their stance on matches isn't uncommon. However, to change one's opinion of an infamous match to this extent is absurd. Number 7.
I know his vlogs up
In the
there.
news that
I guess
WWE
once I start
revealed
liking
new
my room, they
R-Truth
start
video
coming in there.
sent shockwaves throughout the wrestling world. Truth was one of the most popular WWE names of all time, not just with the fans, but with talent in the locker room. Truth was said to be friends with just about everyone, and even the top stars such as John Cena and Roman Reigns had a close personal bond with him. Truth's release resulted in a ton of justified anger, both from fans
Yeah, and I heard that, R-Truth's release is just a work.
and talent. It was reported that Truth was released due to financial reasons, but this didn't help deter the criticism. The Truth would eventually be brought back at the 2025 Money in the Bank event, and it was widely reported that Truth was brought back due to fan pressure, as well as the entire realm of the locker room being disgruntled. PW Insider Elite even stated that WWE realized that they made a huge mistake. WWE made a mistake. They cut someone based on math and realized they had upset not just the audience, but more importantly, the entire realm of their locker room, many of whom privately made their feelings known as much as some did publicly. So the company course corrected. This doesn't mean every talent will get a reprieve whenever WWE cuts them, but Truth as a performer and locker room stalwart was a unique case, and the ripple effect of that unique case actually ended with a positive. On the post-Money in the Bank press conference, Triple H was asked directly about Truth being brought back, and he had the audacity to imply that his firing was one big work.
Hey, R-Truth deserves it. Before he retires, if he wins world champion, let me say, not R-Truth, Ron Killings. My bad, guys. I just had to, unlock the door. I'm back now. That's the only reason why it took me a couple minutes to get back here.
Even though Truth himself went to social media to say it's not a work.
And yes, he did say it was not a work. He's back. I feel like it is due to what WrestleMania said, fan pressure. Triple H released him, and the fans wanted him back, and he listened, and he brought him back. It was a surprise at Money in the Bank.
The anger felt by fans from this comment was palpable, as the game just couldn't resist trying to play the fans, instead of admitting that the company got it completely wrong. The game was called a lie by a majority of fans on social media, and Truth's own son would call out the game for spewing total nonsense. But there you have it, folks. The worst lies Triple H.
Alright, that was 7 biggest lies HHH, Hunter S. Helmsley, Triple H has told in WWE. Tell me what you guys want to see next in the comments down below. I got more videos coming. Stay tuned, subscribe, like, comment, and yeah, Uriah out.